I try to get everything ready beforehand, and I didn't this morning. So I had to play a little bit of catch up. And what I wasn't ready for, I didn't have these guys plugged in. I just had them sitting over there on the shelf and didn't have them plugged in at all. So I had to find some power chargers to get them plugged up so we can have them on at the same time. So, because what we're unboxing today is their, well, the newest release in this line by Replicade of miniature 1/6 scale arcade games, fully functioning arcade games. Now, I did not get the Street Fighter. I didn't much care how they replicated the Street Fighter, so I just passed on it. But the Tempest, I think they did an unbelievable job on that. The Centipede as well, simply remarkable job on that. And they're fully functioning games, just like the real full-size arcade game was, or any other way that you may have played it. And they've even designed them in the manner of the arcade game. I mean, this is the shape that the cabinet was. I think possibly the cabinet may be just a little bit off scale. The cabinets probably should be a little bit taller. I don't remember exactly, but I thought that I could have my head not necessarily right at the over the thing. I thought, if I remember correctly, my head was still kind of at the front of these. And these figures, I can just get a figure here and show you. Use good old Cap over here. I mean, it'd be easy to figure out. Easy enough to figure out if you happen to know where one of these games are. Take a tape measure out, measure it, and divide by 6. But so here's Captain America. He's supposed to be 6 feet tall, and he's looking over the game. And so that lets me think that they're not necessarily truly 1/6 scale. It should be taller, and but it's close enough, and it's a real game. So I'm having problems here with this one booting up, the Centipede. The battery, of course, was just dead. So anyhow, so that's my only real gripe with this. This battery may be so dead, I can't get it to come up. This isn't good. So if that's the case, well, then we got crap, right? Let's swap this charger out. Maybe the charger's bad. Because I don't believe that they take AA's or anything. It's literally this battery source that's installed in it. There we go. So it must have been the charger that was malfunctioning. So I hope you all had a safe and fun New Year. Let's get some juice in the Centipede, and then we'll be able to get it going, hopefully. Before we move on. Yeah, that's what it was. The charger just wasn't functioning properly. You get these chargers over the years, buy new phones. It's a regular USB, mini USB, not the new 2.0 USB-C, not the new USB-C, but the USB mini. Ones that they use for several years before going to the new C's. Also, there's an Asteroid that may already be sold out. I don't know. But there's an Asteroid that's out there. And I'm really interested to see how they've done the Asteroids. Because they did a real good job with the Tempest. But both the Asteroids and the Tempest use an XY monitor compared to a traditional full color monitor that Centipede was in the day. All right, let's get to the chat now that we got my thing here open. Toys Mafia, good morning. How are you? Happy New Year. Let's hopefully this year is going to be a better one than last year. My goodness. I think we're all looking forward to 2020 being a great year. It just sounds like a great year, right? 2020 just sounds like something you'd want to be a great year number. And boy, did it throw us for a loop. So multiple boxes here. Obviously, this is a box from them. It says Dragon's Lair, Replicated amusements, and then another box from them. So they're obviously concerned with making sure that you get delivered a safe product. And you can see a little customization by UPS. And I say UPS, hell, it could have been FedEx or the post office. I have no idea. UPS is what's going to come to my mind whenever I talk of a package being delivered to me. They're all just as guilty. What do we got here? A little double backing tape. They put to seal that. So as far as packaging go, this thing is packaged well. No doubt about that. So Dragon's Lair, if I remember correctly, was the first LaserDisc video game when it came out back in like 84? 1983 it says here. And I remember playing this and spending every single penny I had on this stupid game. Like I said, I probably put $1,000 into it. And the price of the game probably wasn't that far off back then. Probably could have bought one for what I paid playing it myself. Jake, good morning. It has been a good new year so far. We're trying to do some repairs and stuff on the house and whatnot, get some things done. So we're taking a little loan to do all that. And so the people have to come out and do their inspections. And I'll be doggone, man. You know what I really hate? I really hate these people that think they're being your friend when they come over to the house or whatever. So we have this pest inspector coming over. And they're supposed to look for termites. So my house is built in 1950 something. The entire house is built out of redwood. Everything, from the floor to the ceiling to the walls, 9 yards built out of redwood. That was not uncommon 75 years ago, or however long ago it was that this house was built. It was readily available. Termites do not eat redwood. They don't. So the guy shows up at the house, and I'm like, this is just procedure because there's no termite damage anywhere in this house. None. So I open up the door, and there was a package there for me at the door. Now, I don't know what you'd say. If you've never seen anybody before in your life and you're at their house and there happens to be a package at the door, everybody and their brother gets a package at the door at the house. This is what he says. I've never met the man in my life. I'm not the one to set the appointment up with him. He just shows up. Oh, look at you. You got a special delivery. I don't even know who this joker is. Now, I don't know how he thought that he was that comfortable with me or that being that funny or whatever, talking about how I'm getting a package at the house is a way to start a conversation off when you meet somebody. It wasn't, hi, my name is Joe Johnson from Johnson & Johnson Termite Company. Oh, look at you. You got special delivery. So automatically I'm like put off into this. This is going to be real weird. So of course, as he's going through doing the inspection in the house for termites, you have to go inside the house and all that. And he's like, wow, you got a lot of nice stuff. I don't need to be told I got a lot of nice stuff. Yeah, okay, I don't mind being told I got a lot of nice stuff. I got a big screen TV, whatever. So I said to him, what are you doing? Making a shopping list? Because I didn't understand why he had to say that. Why would you say that? Sure, you can say, oh, that's nice TV or something like that. Wow, you got a lot of nice stuff. I really don't even understand that. So now we get back to the collection room. Oh, I bet someone would like to get their hands on all of this. I'm about ready to put this guy right out the door at that point. That's not what you say when you walk into somebody's collection room. You don't lock, boy, I bet someone sure would like to get their hands on this. What are you implying? No, you can compliment it in another way. You can say, wow, this is really nice. That's a nice collection. I don't mind that. Wow, you got a really good collection. Whatever. I like your toys. Not, wow, someone sure like to get their hands on this. What the hell does that even mean? What is wrong with these people these days, man? So then he goes out there and he finds these little areas where the gutters are on the side of the house. Okay. The reason for termite damage is they're looking for structural integrity, deprecation, or the possibility of the house falling apart because termites have eaten up the structure of the house. So at the top of the house where the eaves are, you have an eave that hangs off on the side of the house, and there's a gutter that goes there. And right there where that gutter was, there's a little bit of thing of water damage where the water had dry rotted out this 2x6 that's on the side of the house. He's poking it with his little termite poker, and he says, there's dry rot. That's going to have to be replaced before you can get approved for the loan. And I said, well, that sucks. I thought you were here for a termite inspection. I didn't know you were here for water damage inspection from a gutter at the top of the house. There's no fear for structural integrity. And I'm like, what structural integrity is that? And he goes, well, if there's water damage here, there's water damage throughout the entire house. I said, well, how much is that going to cost to fix? He goes, oh, we'll do it for you for a few $1,000s. And at this point, I'm like, this asshole, the only reason he's here, he's trying to make himself a job. You know what I mean? He got paid whatever he got paid, $100, $200, $500. I have no idea what they charge for a termite inspection. And instead of being happy with getting whatever it was for him to come out for his 30-minute walk around the house, which is pretty good money for doing a whole lot of nothing, he's going to try to turn it into something else. So the whole thing was just an invasion of privacy and a lot of bullshit. No termite damage, but in two areas he found where the water had run along the gutter and had, water damage. And I'm looking it up on the phone, and I'm Googling it while he's going around. And I said, well, it says here the termite damage is for structural integrity, as you said, from organisms. He goes, yeah, water is an organism. I said, no, water is not an organism. Water is an element. Organisms may live in water. This was not caused from an organism. This was caused from water. And it's not a structural position that's holding anything up. So there's not a structural integrity. And he goes, well, I guess we're just going to have to disagree on this, aren't we? And I go, it's not me that disagrees. You're sending the information to the lender. So I guess I'm going to have to talk it over with your lender. He goes, you can call your lender. And I said, I don't need your permission to call my lender. Jesus. COVID has made people completely stupid. If you don't know how to interact with somebody, shut your damn mouth. Sorry, guys. But Jesus, that's crazy. You know what I mean? That's just, the whole thing was just absolutely insane. Just from the very start. I don't know if this dude's on crack, cocaine, or meth, or what the hell his problem was. You don't talk to people that way. You don't be that familiar with somebody that you don't even know. Ew, look at you. Well, you got a special delivery. Like as if I just ascended to some spectacular level that he's watched me my entire life, and now I finally made it. Whoa, look at you. You made it, boy. You got the special delivery. Don't introduce yourself like that. If there's a package there, you say, oh, I see you got a package. Do you need me to help you get it into the house? Or don't even say anything about the package. You're not here for the package. You're not here to be my buddy, obviously. And don't compliment somebody by saying, whoa, you got a lot of nice stuff. Yeah, making a shopping list. And we'll come back and get that big screen TV over there. Just so angry about this whole thing. Wow, I bet someone would like to get their hands on this. I'm going to call up some of my homies. We're going to come clean you out. I'm just angry about the whole thing. I really am. So thanks for letting me vent on that, guys. But I'm just warning you. COVID's made people where we don't communicate anymore, and cell phones has made it so that we don't shake hands, we don't talk, we don't have to directly interact with anybody. We don't have to look at their eyes to see what kind of reaction somebody gets out of something stupid that you say. So we need to get back into that. We need to get back into direct communication with people. We need to be able to know that if you're communicating in a way that is offensive or just plain stupid, by the look on the person's face who's received it, you might want to reconsider saying that next time. So I don't know if this Joker says this every time he goes into somebody's house, but that shit ain't cool. Not at all. Period. That's just not cool. So Dirk the Daring, I think, was the name of this, and I think the girl's name was Daphne, if I remember correctly. And I don't even have to Google that to remember these, and I'm pretty sure that's what their names were. Dirk the Daring and Daphne. That's how much time I spent playing this stupid game. I really loved it. It's a great game. So what do we have here? There's something here. Don't know what it is. Let's see. And there's a disc. And I wonder if it's like just the disc to like pretend to be a disc, or if it really is a disc game. That would be quite interesting if it really is a laser disc game, like it really was. That would be actually very interesting. And we got a sexy picture of Daphne, or a sticker, and little quarters. And I don't remember when I was looking at these. I think these quarters are pretty close to scale. The subway, the skee ball token that Deadpool had from Hot Toys was not 1/6 scale, but I think these are a lot closer to 1/6 scale in that regards. And this is a pretty thick instruction manual. I don't know if it's just duplicated stuff over and over again, or if it's all important, because they may write it in 4 different languages. Okay, okay, yeah, no, it's not. It's written in multiple languages. It's only only 2 sheets, more or less, of instructions. So it's not a huge instruction manual at all. So don't be fretted by this huge book. It's really not the whole thing in the instruction manual. What? Jake, they've reissued the Mark V. The Mark V diecast has been put on reissue. I did not catch that. Thank you. So you can buy now the Mark V Hot Toys, and I have to tell you, that's one of the finest Hot Toys figures that they made. For real. If the Mark V has been reissued, the diecast, and you didn't get one, and you're an Iron Man fan, and you want the Mark V, jump on it. So, Jake, thanks for that news. I did not know that. I guess I slacked on I didn't look at the website last night. Boy, oh boy, I really missed out. There's been so much 1/6 scale figures coming out recently. I can't even keep track of them anymore. Gosh, 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, there was only just a few players in the game, for real. If you wanted to get 1/6 scale figures, there weren't that many. I'd say, truthfully, maybe 10 or so companies, in all actuality, that were really making 1/6 scale figures. And that's plus or minus a couple, okay? But it was just a small group. I would say there's probably at least double that or more of people making 1/6 scale figures. And so stuff now is being cranked out left and absolute right that we're now getting figures so like this was your little cable was in here, this was in front of that. We're now getting figures that we would have been begging for 5-10 years ago. Like the Ned Leeds, we got Ned, we got what's her name, Zadaya, figures that should have been made all along are being cranked out. I was just told my Negasonic Teenage Warhead is on the way. The Justin Bieber, But we don't have a Rusty yet. So they're cranking them out. You'll be able to get whatever you want, but there's no possible way on God's green earth Are you going to be able to keep track of all of them? You're not going to get them all. And that's what's going to be really interesting as time goes on, as the collections are truly going to end up being unique, because there's going to be somebody that's going to have a lot of them, and somebody else is going to have a lot of them. But one person have all of them, it's going to be pretty tough to find that happening. So they've really packaged this well. I mean, I don't remember the other games being packaged this well, which kind of makes me believe maybe it really is a LaserDisc player in here. I have a hard time believing that they would really put a LaserDisc in here as small as this is, because if I remember correctly, those types of devices, if you jar it, bump it, drop it, you know, whatever, you could do some serious damage to the alignment of the laser light that reads the information on the disc. So I think it's probably just for show. It's got to be on an SSD or something, you know. It's got to be on a solid state device. There's no way do I believe for 1 second that it's truthfully on this laser. It might be. Don't know. We're going to find out. So this is pretty light, okay? Picking these up, they don't weigh any more than the figure does, okay? This has got some heft to it. This 50, 60, 80 pounds probably. It's not that, of course, but it's heavier. It's a lot heavier than this. This is, you don't think anything of picking this up, just like you don't think anything of picking up your figure, but this is dense. This has got some bulk to it for a similarly sized toy. So I don't know what's going on there. These guys are running perfectly fine. I don't know if you can see them. And this looks just like I remember, which is the same thing with these two. It brings back that memory. I actually owned both of these games. I at one point in my life when I was operating video games around town, you know, it used to be back in the 90s and 80s. You go to laundromats and sandwich shops and stuff like that, and they would have a video game sitting there. You'd throw your quarter in there while you're waiting for your sandwich, or while you get done eating your sandwich, or you're waiting for your laundry and you play your game. Those are pretty rare anymore nowadays because everybody plays their game on their cell phone. But so I operated these, made a little bit of money from that. But that's what I liked about these. The Street Fighter one, I passed on. I played Street Fighter, obviously, but it just didn't resemble, in my opinion, properly the way the Street Fighter game was that I remember in the day. So they have a little piece of plastic over the screen. There's also a little piece of plastic up here over where the speakers and the information is. I'm not so sure I'm going to remove that plastic. If it's not causing a problem, I'm probably going to keep it there. And this is a sticker on the side here. And I'm sure this is a sticker, but I mean, I haven't looked at this game 30 years or more. So it's kind of going by my memory, but it resembles what I remember the game to look like. And I'm sure that they've done a good job. Now, another thing that they've done is they've updated the connections in here. So what I'm wondering is, looking at this, and of course I've not looked at the instruction manual yet. We have the USB 2.0 or the mini USB 2.0 mini connection here, just like on these, but in a different spot. So on these, they're at the bottom. So they've redesigned it for this. We'll also now have a couple of USB 2.0 connections and an HDMI. So I've not looked at the instruction manual, but what I'm thinking is this is probably an out if you wanted to put it on a big screen. And hell, these may be power outs to power up these guys, so you don't have to have 3 of these things plugged in to have it in. That'd be interesting to see if that's what they've done. So let's hope for that best case scenario, especially because, you know, we have to stay on top of these things. We've migrated from this now. They now have the USB-C, and which is everyone is transitioning over, which means this stuff is going to be difficult to find, and whatever problem that can come from that. So going on with chat over here. C'est bon, Mason. How you doing, man? CBS Sci-Fi. Hello, Matt. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome, Martin. Denmark. All right. Hook up Denmark. You have it. Some people humor is bad. Sounds like he was trying to make smart talk, and then yeah, it was just the wrong way of doing it. So he's obviously socially awkward, and that's what I'm afraid of. Is that as we continue in our lives of no longer visiting people because we can text them and get all the information that we need to them instantly without having to go look at them. And yeah, we have FaceTime and Skype and whatever else where we can see these things, but we really don't do that on a continuous basis. If we lose our ability to communicate with somebody face to face, hand gestures, for instance, as I'm talking, I'm animated with these hands. You don't get this, but it helps. I'm doing it subconsciously. I'm communicating. My hands are just moving. That's because we don't just communicate with verbal words. We don't just communicate with text. Text can be so misconstrued because of the inflection of the word in the sentence, depending on what it is that you're saying. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Each one of those flexes depends on what it is that you're really wanting to know that the question is. Just in a sentence, you're the one that has to interpret what was actually being said. But whenever we communicate face to face, you get a different way of understanding. Our language, the American language, because it's not even English, is such a terrible language in regards to communicating clearly that we need to have all of these things. There are other languages that communicate much better. French probably being the most, and I'm not sure for a fact, but it's probably one of the most proper languages, if you were to say such a thing in that regards, because from my understanding, when somebody speaks French or it's written in France, it's virtually impossible to misinterpret it. What it says means what it says. We can say many things and they would have multiple meanings, and a lot of miscommunications happen from that. And so it makes people socially awkward if they're not out there talking. They don't know how to communicate with somebody. And this guy just communicated in every wrong way. And he wasn't there to be my friend, obviously. And maybe he just knew that he was coming over there to screw me over. And that's why he tried to be friendly about it. And he just really, the whole thing just pissed me off. I mean, just, oh, man. Yeah, no, you never really like anybody in your castle. It's your space, We have our own what's called personal space, which is about a 3-foot square area that you exist in, and you don't want anybody within that personal space unless you welcome them in. When you get intimate with somebody, you shake your hand, you hug somebody, you kiss them. They're in your personal space. But other than that, I want you to be arm's length away from me while we're communicating. If I don't want to hug you, kiss you, touch you, whatever, I want you this far away from me. This is my personal space. Same thing with my house. I don't want you in my house unless I want you in my house. You know what I mean? And so anytime anybody invades your personal space, you may become a little defensive. If I don't know who you are at all, and all of a sudden you just come up and hugging on me, I might be like, okay, this is weird, but and it can make you uncomfortable because you've been violated my 3-foot area. And if you come into that area and you start saying some creepy shit, we're going to have a problem. If I just meet you and I have no idea who you are, come and give me a big hug, you're like, this feels good. I'd be like, get the fuck off right now because, looks like you getting a special delivery. You know what I mean? We're going to have a problem right off the bat. I bet someone sure would like to get their hands on some of this stuff. No. No. Now, if we're buddies, if we've been communicating a while, we have a spirit of that. You want to be stupid when you give me a hug. That's going to be all right. Oh, I'd like to get a hold of some of this. Okay, you're an idiot. Get off of me now. You know what I mean? It's not going to offend me. It's going to be like you're a nutcase. But I know you, and I know that that's where that is. But you just don't. There's things you just don't say to somebody you don't know who they are, especially if you're there for a business arrangement. You know what I mean? You guys, we have to make sure we keep communicating with each other. Don't let COVID keep you away from each other. Don't let your cell phone keep you away from each other. Back before cell phones, we had to go visit people if we wanted to see them. You know, back before answering machines, you had to keep calling and keep calling and keep calling until you can get in touch with that somebody. There was no instant on-demand communication and information that was available. And as we get more and more information to our fingertips, we lose more and more of that interaction. People used to go visit each other just to catch up on the gossip in the news, which is what we now get here instantly. I mean, you put on there, going to Starbucks, had a great coffee. This is the best Starbucks in the world. Here's a picture of it. I know everything about you now. You went to Starbucks. It'd have been nice if I went to your house, sit down on the couch, looked at you, you know, talking about whatever else going on. So what'd you do today? I went to Starbucks, had a good coffee. Here's the best coffee I've ever had. You should go down to that Starbucks over there. It was yummy. And at least now I'm actually communicating with you, and we're communicating. This isn't communicating. This is sharing of information, and it's making us stupid. So, if at all possible, guys, reach out and continue to reach out to other people, especially in this time of lockdown. Especially the little guys are young people that we're raising up. They're really missing out. You know, your formative years. That's why they don't let anybody sign a contract until they're 18, because they don't feel that your brain has matured enough that you even know what the hell's going on until you're 18 years old. And I'd even argue at 18, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I don't even know what the hell's going on now. And I'm in my 50s. But we have a formative year for these children, and they're not getting it. They're not getting the social interaction. They're not getting the things that make their brains function properly. And I'm scared to death to see what is happening by us sheltering our kids, by us not teaching them to communicate with people, by us not letting them interact face to face within 3 feet of somebody and seeing directly the actions of their actions, action reaction, and being able to process that. Because if you live in your own bubble and you have no idea what's going on around you, for instance, I didn't know that the Mark V diecast has been released. You're missing out on a lot of stuff. So just the whole thing has just gone sour. Everything's just gone bad. Oh man, well, I'm really on it today, aren't I? Holy cow, I'm just going off. Shut up and just get to the figure, right? If it's a disc, if it is a disc game that small, is so cool. It is. I agree. If it truthfully is a disc and it's this small, that's freaking cool, because obviously this was a 11-inch, 12-inch disc back then. These LaserDisc games there was a record more or less when it was a LaserDisc. There's a couple of them. I mean, Magnavox was the company back then that was alive. I think they called it Selectavision, and then there was LaserDisc and all these different companies that were making these. And then of course Compact Disc was all the same thing. Philips and I forget who it was that was making these. So, but these were a big 12-inch disc. So that's would be 1/6 scale, I guess, if that would be what it is. And I don't know why else they would include this other than just, I guess, the coolness factor. So let's get into it and see where we are. I have the Mark V. The Mark V is probably the finest. Let's get my Mark V down here while we're talking about it. It's probably the finest hot toy they ever made. I mean it. And I'm a little angry at some of the crap that Hot Toys is producing now. But if it's truthfully just cranked out with the same attention to detail and quality that they made this Mark V on, and you haven't picked it up, and you wanted it, and you might have passed on it, I say grab it. I mean, it's going to be probably, again, I haven't seen it yet, $400, because that's what the diecast figures are running now. But my goodness, they could have done more to it. I think they probably held back even. But you can see I've got them opened up. Now, on my particular Mark V, this little flap right here just doesn't stay up for whatever reason. Okay? But you can see all the flaps on them that are open, which is supposed to replicate him putting on his suit. That moment when he he has his suitcase there. he steps on it, which opens it up, puts his hands into it, picks it up, and then stretches his arms out and starts putting the suit on. And it's a huge improvement over the plastic Mark V, of which I have two of. And it's nice. The plastic Mark V is. Let me show you the plastic Mark V. Now, the Mark V does not come with a head sculpt, so I've made this head sculpt. It does not come with one. Neither does the diecast. So you don't get a head sculpt with the Mark V, and you should, because we've seen Tony in it. We've seen Tony with his helmet up in it, and we should have a head sculpt with the Mark V. And so I made this head sculpt with this Mark V. And whenever I make them so you can display it either open or closed. It's fully functioning. But the plastic one is cool. It's a very unique figure in the first place. And I wouldn't say that this has totally replaced the plastic one. But there's no comparison in regards to which is the finer piece here. If you can get this one for a good deal, I think when we were selling these, they're still around $200. So if you can get one for around $200, you're doing all right. I'd hate to sell mine for $200, but it just doesn't really do much. You can interchange the chest piece. You can interchange the battle damaged on the arm, and that's about it. Whereas this guy, they just full on articulated him with all the little things that he does. So if you want a really, really, really finely crafted, neat, hot toy Iron Man suit, this Mark V, I mean, grab it for real. And if it's a reissue, then this is what you're getting. Okay. Now, if they've revamped it, which I wish that they would do to the Mark II/Mark III, because it really needs to be redone, then that's a whole nother story. But no, this is a buy. Now, the collectability of it now has just gone right to the floor, because now the number of them has just been increased to an ungodly amount. There's no telling how many hundreds or even thousands of these that they'll make available. So the odds of this being a valuable figure later beyond what you paid for it, pretty slim. It's now turned into you're gonna have to hold on to it for 20 years to turn a buck on it and hope that they never make them anymore again and they'll make a better one. But in regards to, adding this to your collection, you can't. It's the finest one made. Not my favorite, but the finest one that's ever been made, in my opinion. So, thanks, Jake, for letting us know that the Mark V has been reissued. I should have checked my email. It's just been a week, It's just been a week. It's New Year's, whatever else, and it's just been a heck of a week. Some of these Mark V's, by the way, on these plastic ones, I'm just reminded of this, their hips and their knees get weak. And if the knees are weak, you can pop off the little area here and screw down and tighten the screws to get it in there. But some of these, they really have this problem going on. So keep that in mind if you're seeking a plastic one, because if the diecast has come out, those of you that haven't sold your plastic one yet, some of you are probably going to think to yourself, well, I don't need multiple figures. I'm going to drop this plastic one. And so if you don't have the $400 to get this one or whatever he's running, you should be able to pick one of these up for a pretty good price. Just keep in mind, like I said, this is not uncommon. It's not a big issue. It's not something to go absolutely bananas over somebody if you buy one and it does that. It's just the nature of the beast in that regards. So, and that's common with a lot of these, not just the Mark V, but some of the other made figures at that time. Mandalorian Heavy Infantry and Spider-Man Mark IV suit has been released in Hong Kong. Oh man! So Mark IV, was that the one with like the kind of like the blue tealish color coming around the emblem, Spider-Man emblem on it? And the Mandalorian. Oh my God! You know what? I love the Mandalorian series. I cannot wait for next Christmas time for it to come out. What a long time we have to wait for the next Mandalorian. And in my opinion, they've done what Star Wars should have been done these last 15 years or 10 years or however long it's been that episode 7, 8, and 9 done. Love it or hate 7, 8, 9, it was not done the same way 4, 5, and 6 was. It just wasn't done with the same. It wasn't done the way 4, 5, and 6 was. And yeah, you can say you old guys talking about us need to get with the program and just accept 7, 8, and 9 and stop being stupid. No, bull. 4, 5, and 6 set the standard. You need to stick with what 4, 5, and 6 was. Rogue One was done like 4, 5, and 6 was. I did not see the Han Solo movie. I couldn't tell you how that was done. But 7, 8, and 9 was not done the way 4, 5, and 6 was. The Mandalorian is done the way 4, 5, and 6 was. And I'm not talking about miniatures and camera angles and whatnot. I'm talking about the just the general feel of the show or the movie, however you want to look at it. It has that same feel to it, and it takes place. I think they said that it's 6 years after Return of the Jedi. I think that's where they said it takes place at that time frame. I might be wrong there, but I think I remember seeing or hearing someplace that The Mandalorian takes place approximately 6 years after the events in Return of the Jedi. And episode 7 is what, 20 something years after Return of the Jedi, 30 years or something. So it's a huge time gap between Return of the Jedi and episode 7. But Mandalorian, from my understanding, is about 6 years after the Return of the Jedi. And it's done, in my opinion, it's done right. There's only, out of all 16 episodes, there's 2 seasons, 8 episodes each. There's only one episode that I really had a hard time watching. It was just a difficult episode to watch and get through. And that happens. In any story, there's always a story that still has to be told in order to get on with the big picture of things. And it's just a difficult story. And even when you watch the producers talk about the show, the directors talk about the show, they even reference that this episode they knew was going to be a tough one. And it is. It really is. When you're watching it, or at least when I did, I was like, God, just get on with the story. This is droning on and on. Kind of like how I'm doing today, just droning on and not continuing on with why you guys are here in the first place. So, yeah, if you're even a remote Star Wars fan, or if you're a Star Wars fan from 4, 5, and 6, you need to catch up with The Mandalorian. You can binge watch it now. It's on Disney only, so I'm sure they got like a 2-week free trial or something. Get your 2-week free trial, binge watch 16 hours of it, and just entertain yourself and just take comfort in watching this, and you're really going to enjoy it. You're really going to enjoy it. And some of the fans have really done some great little videos where they've taken the footage and redubbed it or turned it into a different story. And there's a real funny one where they have Bill Burr doing his stand-up comedy about Star Wars, and they've dubbed it onto scenes from him in the episode. It's just so funny. And here he is going off of how much he hates Star Wars or the problems he has with Star Wars, and he's there in Star Wars. It's just stupid funny. Yeah, if someone came in here and said something about my Hot Toys, I would not be happy either. Compliment them. Oh man, wow, you've got the freaking advanced suit Spider-Man there. That's a great piece. You got a lot of nice pieces. Good job, a nice collection. I like it. Don't say, man, I sure would like to steal your shit. What time you going to work tomorrow? Yeah, don't do that, man. Love the rants. Completely agree with you. One of the reasons I love the channel. Thank you, Jake. Thank you very much. Mark 5 is for New Year. Mark 47 is saying about $400, and that's a nice figure as well. If you can't go wrong with the Mark 47, you can't go wrong with the Mark 5, you can't go wrong with the Mark 7. There's certain figures of the Iron Man collection. You don't have to. I've bought them all. I don't know if there's any. I sold one that I didn't have. I think there's a couple that I don't have actually. like some of the original Mark threes, only, and like the original Mark one, only because the re-release was better. The 2.0 Mark one was better, and uh, I bought the AOU, the Armor Unleashed Mark two, so I passed on the first Mark two, and so in that regards, I don't have everyone, but I have everyone. Everyone is represented here. And so you don't necessarily have to full on geek out like that on Iron Man. But if you're wanting to make a nice little Iron Man collection of just less than 10 figures, for instance, Mark 7 for fact, Mark 1, because it tells a story. It's up to you if you want to add them. Mark 7, Mark 1, Mark 5 because it's unique, and Mark 47 because it is cool as hell also. Mark 21 because it just looks freaking amazing. There's just those that are like, you can't go wrong with having any one of those, really. The Mark 47 looks kind of like the ultimate Iron Man from the comics. So, but those are some of the neat ones, and the 47 is really the same as the 46. So there's really three versions you can get of that suit. You get all the neat things. You can either get the red and gold 46, exact same suit, red and silver 47, or you can get the gold and red 46 concept. All three of those are the exact same suit with the exact same articulation and movement ability to them, and the light up, which is really neat on it, it's the light up. So depending on what color Iron Man suit you want to have in your collection, because there are Iron Man collectors that just don't have any interest in the red and silver, or the black ones, or the blue ones, or the green ones, or whatever, because from their viewpoint, and I understand this, Iron Man is the red armor, red and gold specifically. So anything outside of red and gold just doesn't fit the plan. So if you want to have a really cool figure, the Mark 47 is really cool because of all the lights on them. Oh my goodness. But you don't care for the red and silver, get the 46 because he's red and gold. And if you really like the gold, which is really kind of more like the older Iron Man, he is a lot more gold than what the little gold splashes that we have on. He wasn't so much red, he had a lot more gold in him. Then go with the 46 concept. I think you can even still buy the 46 concept brand new. And it's the exact same neatness of the 47, but he's more, I would say, gold and red. So it's all the exact same suit. Can't go wrong there. The lights on that are remarkable. I've not seen Wonder Woman yet. It's on HBO, right? I need to get HBO for a couple of reasons. Obviously, not because of the Wonder Woman that I need to watch, but I've not seen a single episode of Game of Thrones, and whatever that was, 7 seasons or something. And I've always wanted to watch it. I've just never had HBO. So now I have two reasons to get HBO and to watch it. And my wife has even expressed a desire to see Game of Thrones, or Games of Thrones, Game of Thrones. I don't remember which, but so it would be an easy sell on her. I'd be like, "Hey, we're going to get HBO so we can watch this." And just like I was talking about in Disney, I don't know if I could watch 7 seasons of it in 2 weeks or a month or whatever the trial period is. But yeah, no, I think I need to do that. I really do. I think I need to do that and see Wonder Woman, because a lot of you have said that this Wonder Woman 1984 is good, and I've not seen any of the Wonder Woman movies. And I love Wonder Woman, and somebody told me Linda Carter makes an appearance or a cameo or something in it too, which is sweet. She was the Wonder Woman back in the 70s was when that was out. Television show. I just got Galaxian for Christmas from Big Bad Toys. Better not get a disc. Galaxians? So they made one of these as a Galaxian? Is that what you're talking about? I didn't know that. I did not know they made a Galaxians. I would have got that. It was going to one of the 25 cents is upside down. The Galaxians is quarter scale? I have a Deathstroke and Gotham's Penguin coming to me by Tuesday. I got Deathstroke because in my reality, he's Deadpool in an alternate reality. Now, yes, I hear you. Deathstroke was on the scene first. So Deadpool is really Deathstroke. And we all know that Deathstroke is a full-on, I mean, Deadpool's a full-on ripoff of Deathstroke. Everybody knows that. If you don't know that, hello, spoiler alert. Deadpool's a ripoff of Deathstroke. But I bought the Deathstroke because I thought it was a really cool looking figure, and he fits in with my alternate realities of Deadpools. So all my little Deadpools over there are alternate realities: a chibi pool and a dog pool, a couple dog pools, and a Pokemon pool, and a head pool, and the kid pool, and Lady Deadpool. And so Deathstroke is the DC universe Deadpool. So that's how I justified getting him. I like that Deathstroke. It's a cool figure. Let's see if this has to be charged up. How to charge Dragon's Lair Replicade plugged in, include micro USB cable into a power outlet. The unit charges faster when it's turned off. It's just 12 watts for best results. When the battery is completely exhausted, make sure the unit is turned off before charging for best performance. So it's power switch to the on position and turn on the unit. So yeah, they've totally revamped this. This just has a power button you press. This actually has a rocker switch. So it's power switch to the on position to turn on the unit. While charging, the LED light will light up, assuming they're talking about that. Red to inform you that it is still charging. It will turn green when fully charged, assuming they're talking about that. Dragon's Lair Replicade can be played while plugged in. For authentic arcade display, out cabinets have been designed to be played in all the time and running in attract mode. Let me read that again. Dragon's Lair X Replicade can be played while plugged in. For authentic arcade display, our cabinets have been designed to be plugged in all the time and running in attract mode. Well, that's good to know. And they say our cabinets. So I'm assuming backwards compatibility. So having read that, I might just leave these bad boys plugged in and running all the time. Now, I don't know if this has the problem that they had back in the day with cathode ray tubes and what they called burn-in. And what that meant was, in the old days, as these screens didn't change, and that's why they created screensavers back then, they would burn into the monitor, and you would have a ghosting of that image forever. The rays literally would just burn right into the silver or whatever it was on the inside of these tubes that allowed you to view whatever it was you were watching, and you would get burn-in on these tubes. You'd have to replace the tubes. I doubt that these are tubes. I doubt that they have that problem. I'm pretty sure they're just LCD monitors. And I don't know, and maybe one of you can tell me, does an LCD have burn-in? I don't think that they do. So if they say that they're designed to be on and running all the time, I just might just do that. I have everything now on, the remote in regards to the displays here, and I just turn them on and off. And they only get turned on whenever I come back here. And I like that. These guys wouldn't have that, because if I disconnect the power on it, you still have to flip the switch, actually press the button on it to turn it on. This one looks like it may now be different with a rocker switch, because it's either on or off, where this one is a depressing switch. You have to depress it to actually turn it on. So, I don't know how much it would run to run it all the time. So I might just leave them on running all the time. That's interesting to read that. And they do look neat running. They do. Please charge for 10 minutes before booting up first time. So while we're sitting around shooting the shite, and we don't get an actual AC piece on this. The centipede's been running long enough. Let's get this some juice, get it going here. Let it charge. Let it do its thing. Sideshow rewards are, you're saying they now expire after a year, but I think they're actually giving us like an additional year. So I think they're going to start expiring after a year. So, but I think they're starting it like now or something. But doesn't it like actually you actually got like 2 years before they'll start expiring? So yeah, make sure you use your sideshow points. He don't give you much, but it's better than nothing. I just ordered the Spider-Man Classic suit, which was announced a few days ago, and I think I had $50 worth of sideshow rewards. By the time I went to order the doggone thing, Big Bad Toy Store was sold out, and so I ordered it on Sideshow, and I had $50 worth of Sideshow reward points. So needless to say, I applied that to him, and I think he's coming out next year, year and a half or something from now. So that's cool. Classic suit Spider-Man from the PlayStation 4 video game. Westworld, that looks interesting. I remember Westworld when it came out in the 70s, and they had the sequel to it, Future World. And so that looks really interesting. And Yul Brynner, of course, was famous from that movie, the first one, Westworld. So it looks like it's the same thing. I'm curious if they kept the same story or if they geeked everything up and turned it into a different story. But yeah, that sounds like something else would like to watch. These are 1/6 scale. So I'm a 1/6 scale collector. The only time I'll buy something outside of 1/6 scale is if it fits in with the 1/6 scale. And that's not solid and written in stone or in concrete, because I own a 1-to-1 scale Bumblebee Camaro, and I own a 1-to-1 scale watch that Tony used to make his little hand in Civil War, I think it was, to fight against Winter Soldier. I bought that watch 1-to-1 scale, and I have, for instance, the 1/9 scale and 1/12 scale Ant-Man, because he fits the story of him shrinking down. But yeah, I'm a 1/6 scale collector, so these are a 1/6 scale. And as I was saying earlier, in comparison, truthfully, I think they're not truly 1/6 scale. Now, this is a little bit closer to it, but I don't think that that's the proper height of this figure. I don't of this case. I don't remember playing Centipede and having my head staring at the marquee. I remember my head staring at the display monitor. So I don't think it's necessarily truly 1/6 scale. It might be more of a 1/7 scale, but they advertise it as 1/6 scale. And like I said, it's easy enough to figure out. Get your tape measure out, go find one of these, measure it out, divide by 6, and see if that comes out to the same height that this is. And this is 12 inches. So they're saying from top to bottom is 6 feet. So if it's anything greater than 6 feet, then we know for a fact that it's not 1-to-1. But this is from top to bottom right here. Not even 12 inches. 11 3/4 of an inch. So that's what, 5 feet 9 inches. It's bigger than 5 feet 9 inches. So it's not a true 1/6 scale collectible piece, but that's what they're claiming it is. This one looks a little bit more. They've added about another ½ inch to it in the height here, but no, it's not really 1/6 scale. It's darn cool. It's darn cool. And I forget what these were, 100 something bucks or something. Yeah, it's not bad. Powered on, press the add credit button twice. The add credit button. Add credit button number 3. So with your Dragon's Lair Replicade cabinet powered on, press the add credit button. So the little slot there where you would put your quarter in is a button evidently. So you would say you would press this twice with it powered on to give yourself credits to play. So like as if you're putting quarters into the machine. A credit added sound effect plays for each credit. That's cool. Press the F1 or F2 button to start the game. F1 and F2 must be player 1, player 2. Oh, P1 or P2 button Yeah, that's player 1 and player 2 button on here to start the game. You need to have 2 credits to start a player 2 game. Press the add credit button 4 times to give yourself the necessary credits for a 2-player game. Press the add credit button 4 times to give yourself the necessary credits for a 2-player game. You need to have 2 credits to start a P2 game. I think that's probably written wrong, because they're saying you need 4 credits for a 2-player game. They're saying you need 2 credits to play a game. So, and I think that may have been the case back then. These were 25-cent games to play. You put 1 quarter in there and you could play until you died, or 3 lives, or whatever it was that the game required, and you had to put another quarter in to either start over from the beginning or continue, depending on what game it was. I think I remember this was a 50-cent game back then. So they've continued on with that realism to it, and they're claiming that you have to press it twice, put your 50 cents in it to play the game. I guarantee you that's what it says. You need to have 2 credits to start a P2 game. P2 would be 2-player. And then it says press the add credits button 4 times to give yourself the necessary credits for 2-player games. So yeah, no, it's 2 credits for 1 game, evidently. Use the joystick to choose a direction and press the sword button when needed to attack the enemy's environment. And playing this game was difficult, because if you press the joystick, what happens if you've never played this game? It's a cartoon that's playing along, and something happens, and then he'll be put into a scenario, and something will flash, and you need to respond by moving him forward or left or right or swinging the sword. And if you respond too quickly, even though you've made the correct choice, you will have gotten the wrong response. So based on how the timing that you move your character determines whether you succeed or fail. So it was a learning experience in discovering this game, because you would be given the prompt that something is going on, it would flash, and you would then have to react to where the flash was. Jump or swing or duck or bob or weave or move or go forward or backward or whatever you needed to do to react to the flash, you would need to do that. And even if you reacted with the proper movement, you might be confused into thinking, well, that didn't work, but it would have worked if you'd just done it at the right time. And that was kind of, in my opinion, a failing of the game, because it would just make it more confusing to you as you're trying to learn the strategy of what to do in regards to moving through the game to progress and win the game. And I don't think I ever beat the game, to tell you the truth. Of all the year or two or whatever it was that I played the doggone thing, I don't think I ever beat the game. But so even if you had a cheat sheet in front of you that would say, and here's the thing on it too, unlike games where there's and now we're talking about the 80s. Today it's a little different. We have open world games where pretty much anything can be done. But in the 80s, there was a sequence that happened, and it followed this sequence. A went to B, B went to C, C went to D, etc. And you really didn't deviate from that. These screens weren't always portrayed in the same order. Yeah, there was some that was always at this one point. So you always knew that at this point you're going to see this screen. But at one moment you could be fighting the snake that's coming from the ceiling, and then the very next screen would be he's in the tumbling staircase of the tower. And then the next time you play the game, the tumbling tower would come before the snake hanging from the ceiling. So you never really knew what was coming up. So you couldn't just make a cheat sheet and say left, right, up, left, 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 right, right, pound, left, sword, right, dodge, whatever. That wouldn't walk you through the game, because the game was different every single time you played it. You could make a cheat sheet and say, on this screen, this is what you do. But you ain't going to have time to flip through your sheets to say, oh shit, this is the one where the snake's coming down. What am I supposed to do? You're dead. So you really had to learn the game as you went on. So it was really interesting and neat in that regards. So I'm excited about this. I'll be pulling back my childhood, get my money back. Use joystick to choose a direction and press the sword button when needed to attack the enemies and or the environment. Using external USB controllers and HDMI output, New Wave Toys mini fight pads and third-party USB-compatible console controllers can be plugged into the full-size USB ports located on the back of the machine. Note that not all controllers are guaranteed to work with the Dragon's Lair Replicade. New Wave Toys mini fight pads. So instead of playing on this, I guess they have an external pad you can plug into it. And third-party USB-compatible console controllers can be plugged into the full-size USB ports located in the back of the machine. So they're saying if you have a larger controller, instead of trying to control this with your little fingers and move it all around and tap the thing or whatever, if you have a full-size control pad, they're claiming that you can plug it in here and play it, which is going to be easier. Because again, remember, it's all about timing and getting that just at that right moment. Can be plugged into the full-size USB ports located at the back of the machine. So I imagine then the reason these are on here is for player 1 and player 2 connectivity. I'm assuming that's what it is. 14 is USB controller ports. So the USB ports on the back of this are for plugging in USB controlled play pads. That's neat. Not all controllers are guaranteed to work with the Dragon's Lair Replicade. When both controllers are plugged in, press the start button on P2 controller to start a 2-player game. Okay, so again, the pads. Do not remove any external controller from the back of the cabinets during a game session. You don't want to short circuit, get something out and destroy your game. Plug your Dragon's Lair Replicade cabinet into a monitor or TV using a standard HDMI cable. So there you go. You can now use this as like a console, more or less. Plug your handheld pads or larger pads, and then plug this into a television screen so you can see the game and then just use this as the game itself. So that's cool. So just like I was theorizing in regards to the HDMI cable, you can plug this into your television and see the game on full resolution or whatever resolution they have it at, and then control it with larger panels so you don't have to sit there and play this like you do. This one, you're having to play it, I mean, right here. So definitely wasn't plugged in long enough. That bad boy done gone dead. I need to buy, they make a change machine, and I owned one of those change machines, and that's a USB port, more or less, a charging port to power these up, and that we only have to have it plugged into the wall and then divides the power to plug all these up. I need to buy that too. Your Dragon's Lair Replicade screen turns off when using the external HDMI screen, so whenever you have it plugged into your TV, you're not going to see it playing on this. You can either control the game through the cabinet control panel or the external controllers that you have plugged in. You can choose to have the audio come out of the Dragon's Lair Replicade cabinet or the TV because of the HDMI port. The 4:3 aspect ratio is kept even on a widescreen television, so there may be black bars to preserve the aspect ratio. How to open the coin door. Set your finger in between the coin door and the key, and press away from the coin door to pop the door open. Do not twist the key or pull on it too hard, as it could rip off. And so there's your little coin door. Gameplay starts when enough coins have been inserted to register a credit. Hit the Add Credit button right here. Push 1-player or 2-player buttons, and the number of credits will appear on the screen. To charge the Dragon's Lair Replicade cabinet, plug the included micro USB cable into a power outlet. A player has a choice of 5 moves at any given times, 4 positions on the joystick, plus the sword button, and you need to be left-handed or right-handed. You have a sword button on both sides, however you were or are. The player has a choice of 5 plus explore button. Complete game of Dragon's Lair requires more than 200 correct moves. Timing is critical. Dirk can be too hesitant or too eager to make a move. Only experience and a good memory enable Dirk to complete his mission. That's absolutely the truth. The game opens with the dark visage of a foreboding castle looming in the distance. Why? The next thing you know, you are Dirk riding across the castle drawbridge. The gate clangs shut behind you, and your quest to kill the dragon and save Princess Daphne has begun. More than 40 possible episodes will be presented to you. More than 40 possible episodes will be presented to you. Some require many fast repeated moves, and others will require fewer, more calculated moves. Hints for gameplay. React. Often the player will be given a visual cue as to which direction to move. These cues are often presented as a flashing light, a flashing tunnel, a flashing rope, or a flashing door. In general, the player should move toward a flashing object. Remember, even though the player may know the direction to move, the timing of his move is critical. The player must react to fire it the player must react to fire it is his enemy. That doesn't make sense. The player must react to fire it is his enemy. He should not linger too long near fire. Oh, the player must react to fire, comma, it is his enemy. He should not linger too long near fire, and in general, he should move away from blazing fires. So that's their hints. To navigate the menu, hit the menu pause button, the right coin button. To get into the system menu, this will pause the game while playing. While in the menu, use the joystick to scroll through up, down to select menu options, left and right. So scroll up and down, select left and right. The options are screen brightness, game audio, attract mode audio, Dirks per credit, marquee light, joystick sound, and screen blanking. And press the menu pause button, right coin button again, to get out of the menu. Mini LaserDisc player tips. Each Dragon's Lair Replicade comes with a mini LaserDisc player to put into the LaserDisc drawer. Okay, this is going to get interesting. The mini remote comes in a separate bag. I've lost my remote. So this is the remote for the LaserDisc, evidently. Okay, yeah. The mini remote comes in a separate bag to be placed in the open rectangle under the LaserDisc Model 3 logo. You should feel the remote fit in snugly. Use a flat tool placed at the right of the mini remote to remove the mini remote. Caution. Choking hazard in small parts. Opening and tampering with Dragon's Lair Replicade cabinet can result in damage to the product. Clean, wipe gently with a soft, dry cloth. Never submerge Replicade in water. Only charge with power adapters that meet the device's requirements. Only charge and play Dragon's Lair Replicade indoors. Store in a cool, dry place when not in use. Warranty, customer service. So, is the LaserDisc in the door here? I didn't own one of these, so I don't know where LaserDisc was. I assumed it was in the back of the game. Asshole. Wow. Okay. So they've replicated the laser LaserDisc machine. And there's the remote. So what the hell is this? Okay. Do any of you guys have this? Cowgirl TV League figure with 1/6 scale horse. The detail is great. Nice. Had the game on Sega CD console. Did it play the same? Do you know? Did you ever play it in the arcade? Okay, there's a hinge on here and there's a remote. And there's this, like they said, comes in a separate bag. What the hell is this? That's the remote. What am I missing here? That's pretty cool. Okay, so it appears literally just to be for looks. It doesn't do anything, and you'll never see it in the drawer here. So I guess it's just a matter of knowing that it's there, and that's clear see-through. So when you put the disc in there, you will be able to see the disc in there. So it's not a functioning device, thank God. The device is not dependent upon this LaserDisc working, because you've literally now just put your game on a time frame as to how long you'll be able to play the thing. Because if I remember correctly, I think these things would just go bad after a few years, and that was the end of your game. So I'm sure I paid for that guy's game, whoever it was that owned it back in the 80s. So he made his money. So even if it went south, he didn't lose out. Now, the real discs, if you've never seen a compact disc or a laser disc in your life, they would be, they would have like a rainbow effect on them. Curious to see if this has this. Let's put the gloves on. Or did they just make a little silver disc? There is a rainbow effect on there. Sure as hell. So no, it doesn't appear to be actually etched with the information. There's a plastic filament on it, which you could remove. But there's your laser disc. Right there. That's pretty cool. Little piece of plastic on it, so you don't have to worry about handling it with gloves. But that's cool. Put it in the player. Can't see it through the lid there very well, but it's in there. You can see it. You might be able to see it a little bit, but you can see that it's in there. So that's neat. However, with it being stored in here, you'll never see it. But they stayed true to the recreation, the believability of it all, which is neat. But it doesn't appear to be pendant upon anything in regards to gameplay. Just a neat thing. And it's so funny in the 70s when Selectavision and LaserDisc came out, and that was the wave of the future, these big 12-inch laser movies. And you probably can't even find one anywhere, even in a garage sale anymore. there's a little remote on it. But they have, looks like output jacks on the back of it, just like you would have had. It's just a sticker, but it looks like the output jacks. They have little felt feet on the bottom of it there. So it's pretty cool that they would give us this recreation of this. It's pretty cool. Now, what the hell is this? Quite curious to see. I don't remember seeing anywhere what this is. It's got some heft to it. Feels like a magnet. Robert, just a fan. Happy Saturday, Happy New Year. Did I miss some of this of the chat? I'm going to say Sega console. Never played it in arcade. Sounds like it played the same though. Laugh Out Loud wasn't very good at it. It did it. I'm telling you, man, it was a tough game to play. Mark V. Hello, is that diecast? It is. This is the diecast Mark V, and this is the plastic original Mark V. Mark 7 diecast. I'm sure you'll love it. It's an amazing game piece. The only thing I have a problem with is the little right there in the back of his whatever the hell this side of your body is. This little piece just comes off. You can't handle it with that little piece falling off the doggone thing. And I don't want to glue it on, which would keep it from falling off. But every time you handle it, that thing just falls right off. Man, I'm glad you got your Mark 7. Yeah, the left one is die cast, the right one is plastic. Collectible 1.6, but not sure would rather play, but so tiny. Well, so like we just read in the instruction manual, you could plug into it an external control pad if you happen to have a device, maybe an Xbox or a PlayStation or any type of a joystick thing. You can plug them into them. You got two spots, one for player, one for play two, and it has an HDMI out, so you can plug it into your television screen as well. So you can play it with this just sitting next to you on your coffee table, whatever, and plug it into your TV and play it on a full screen. So that's cool because, yeah, this is neat to play as it is. A little pain in the ass. This is neat to play as it is. Both of these can be played in their 1/6 scale environment as such. I didn't get the Street Fighter because I was like, it just didn't look like it would play well at all in 1/6 scale. And this as well could probably be played in 1/6 scale. But it's nice to see that you can, bump it up. And that would be the fun of it. I'm trying to figure out, what the hell is this? And neither one of them come with a Tony head. Okay? So I made that Tony head. They don't come with a Tony head. This one doesn't come with a Tony head. This one does not come with a Tony head. I made that Tony head. I was cranking out head sculpts in these. And so I made that. But no, neither one of them comes with a Tony head, which is a ripoff. And a lot of times you won't get a Tony head because you didn't see Tony in the suit. And sometimes they just miss the mark. For instance, the Black Panther. What the hell is this? The Black Panther Civil War figure doesn't come with a head sculpt of Chadwick Boseman. However, we see him in Civil War wearing the uniform, his Black Panther outfit, and removing the helmet and being there as such in the tunnel scene or whatever. And Captain America comes up and says, "Your Highness," or something like that to him, and acknowledges that he is who he is. And so there's no question about it being a scene in the movie. However, Hot Toys, for whatever reason, didn't include that head sculpt with that. And what the hell is this? And they didn't do it with the Mark V. And we see him with his face in it before it snaps down when he's putting the suit on. He steps on it, puts his hand in, pulls it up, stretches his arms out, and bop, 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 kabam. We see him in it. Why they didn't include it, I have no idea. So it was important to me to have him in there, so I made one, and I'm not even going to venture to try and do it with the this. It's a lot of work to make one of those guys. Easily cost me close to $200 just in supplies to do it, and then several hours, 10 or so hours, maybe more, in the customization of it, of separating the faceplate from the helmet, because the faceplates weren't designed to come off. They're actually integrated into it. The Mark 17, I think, was the worst one, the Heartbreaker. It's the absolute worst one to try to get off, because I had to cut literally at the separation of where the faceplate and the chin was, because they didn't even manufacture it as a separate piece in that area. It literally was just right there. It was on there, so I had to actually cut through that. So it's a lot of work to do that. But you're not going to find very many collectors, if any other collector besides me, that even has one of those. And it's like I said, they're looking at $200 just in parts and time. It's a definite love of the product. And what the hell is this? It's got some heft to it, man. It is something, and it belongs somewhere, and it's eating at me. How much are these? These are like a little over $100. Another Mark 7 or Mark 85. Do you have the plastic Mark 7? Then get the Mark 7 diecast. Mark 85, we're what, 2 years now before they'll even come out with? People going nuts on the head sculpt. My Mark 5 diecast came with one. This came with a head sculpt. This came with an open helmet head sculpt. Mark 5 diecast. It came with a head, right? Didn't come with a head sculpt, right? Faceplate, right? My 3, my 4. Mark 5. Mark 5 plastic. Mark 5 diecast. I don't have a head sculpt in here. So if it came with a head sculpt, it would have been a head, but not a visor. Unless I'm wrong, and I have been wrong on many occasions in my lifetime. This is not a flip-up head sculpt on this Mark 5 diecast. I could be wrong. No. There's no head in there. Now, I'd be interested if you could check for me real quick on yours. But no, there's no head in here. Now, he may have came with a head, and I don't have a head in my box. That don't mean anything because I put heads everywhere. But he didn't come with a lift-up helmeted head sculpt. Not to the best of my recollection, and I may be wrong. But I remember that being one of my big complaints. As it's the same thing with Black Panther. Where the hell's the head sculpt? I bought a third-party head sculpt for the Black Panther, and it looks great. I forget who made it, but the Black Panther from Civil War, I bought the third-party head sculpt and love it. But no, this did not also come with a helmeted head sculpt. So I had to make this. This is a head from the Mark 33 Silver Centurion, battle damaged head that I sculpted to get in there. So you can see the guts to it on the process of what's required to get it out of there, and totally have to dig everything out. You have to cut you have to make it into a shell because it's a solid piece in here. You have to cut all that out and then carefully cut the faceplate off also in order to do this. Hey, what's going on?
I was looking for a pink robe.
Yeah, come on in. I think it's out there.
It's out here?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
But you can grab a blue one if you need.
Okay. I'll got rid of just in case.
Okay. You bet. That is the woman who comes and helps me with my wife, to take care of her. You know, my wife is you could say special needs, I guess would be the right way of saying it. But no, there's no head sculpt that comes with the Mark V. I could be wrong, but I'm about 99% positive that it don't. And what the hell is this? Yeah, I got Plasma Mark 7, two of them, and I want diecast. Thinking getting another Mark 7 for that damn flight pod. Yeah, yes, I bought two of them so I can make the flight pod. I've got you know, I started making. I bought another 10. I bought a $10 little Iron Man figure from the drugstore to try to make a flight pod in it amongst itself, so I could have the two Mark 7s, because it's a crying shame to waste an entire Mark 7. And I started doing this, and it's been sitting in the bag now for a few months. I need to get with the program. I've got it. I've got it. You watch the video and you see how I progressed with it. And one of these days, I'm going to figure it out how to finish it off. I need to find some type of a plastic compound or liquid steel or something to fill in this area on this. So I bought a one of these little Iron Man toys, and this specifically is the one that I bought. There's several different versions of them, but this is the one that I bought in order to do that. And you have to increase the width of the chest in order to get it in there properly. But after it's all said and done, once I finally get a way of calculating how to fill in this section of this piece here to buff it out and make this sandable and then paintable, I mean, it's going to be a great looking pod after it's said and done. And then I made a video a couple months back where I was actually constructing this and getting all the little you know, feet to go into where they go, and it actually turns out really well after it's all said and done. And it was one of you guys that did this first that I seen. One of you guys did this, and I applaud you for bringing this to my attention. And so I've got him figured as to how I want him to be done. You see, I've made some cuts and whatnot into the back of it and into the front of it to be able to put the pieces on there, and then this nicely fits in here properly as such, and when it can be assembled to be a really good flight pod. And I'm just hung up on finding the proper material to stretch this out. This has to be opened to be the proper girth of it, and then to be able to, when you also open it, to be able to fill that and sand that to be able to paint it, because it needs to be painted into this color and not left this orange red that this comes with. So yeah, I bought two of them specifically originally to be able to display one as the Mark 7 and one as the flight pod. And then I just got angry about having that, and I'm like, I paid $400 frickin' for a flight pod, and I have all these extra pieces that I can't even use. I really want to see it as the Mark 7, and I enjoyed displaying it as a flight pod, but it just was such a pisser, because it requires an entire figure in order to do that flight pod. And I wish that they had enough politeness about themselves, Hot Toys, that they would have provided a pod with that. I would have paid an extra $100, maybe even $200 to get the pod with that, instead of having to pay $800 to be able to build the pod and to have the Mark 7, because you had to buy a full-on suit. I would have rather, and yeah, that would have been a bitch to sit there and say to yourself, shit, I'm paying $600 for this or whatever, to have, you know, the Mark 7 and the pod in one thing, instead of using either. You can either display the Mark 7 or you can display the pod. You can't display both with the purchase of one. And I feel that's wrong. They should have made it an accessory. They could have sold the Mark 7, because I think it was one of the first ones that bumped over to $400 price. I don't remember. But they could have sold the Mark 7 for $350 or whatever. And for $500, because we're accustomed to paying that for some of these figures, a Hulk, for instance, and the obviously Hulk Buster, dropping $500 on some of these figures. Mark 38 Igor was $350 or $400, something back when the figures were under $200. We understand that, and I would rather they had done that. You can get the Mark 7 without the pod for X, 350, $400. For $100 more, we'll give you the pod. And I would have liked that better than having to buy an entire 400 and whatever dollar figure it was just to build the pod. And that's a real pisser. So that's why I started making that, so I can have two Mark 7s on display, because that's what I paid for, truthfully, is a full-on Mark 7. If it gets a few times on stuff, just ahead. Yeah, it's just ahead. I want to get another Mark 7 or Mark 85. Outside nurse. Yeah, I'm aware of them. World of Device. Keep bugging the doctors for authorization for outside nurses. That always is pain in the ass when it expires. So we have a lot of things going on. When my wife had her cardiac arrest last year, and if you don't know what a cardiac arrest is, because I had no idea what a cardiac arrest was, I was under the impression it was the same thing as a heart attack. You hear people, you probably know people in your life who have had a heart attack, and they're out there playing tennis, they're running marathons, they're active, they're living their life, they've had another chance at life even though they've had a heart attack. A heart attack is when your heart either stops or no longer functions to proper efficiency. That your heart attacks your body. We know what that is, and they can fix it. They can put pacemakers in there, whatever, all sorts of different things they can do to repair you from a heart attack, and you can go on and live a better life after a heart attack. Another big problem that people have are strokes. You may have known someone who's had a stroke or heard of a stroke. A stroke is when a blood clot or something happens where blood is no longer flowing to your brain, and so you end up with brain damage on a certain part of your body because you've deprived your brain of that amount of oxygen or blood, and you end up brain damaging something. So you'll see people that have like a dead arm or a dead leg or something where it doesn't move anymore because they shut that part off in their brain from a stroke. And so we understand what those are. Probably everybody knows what those two are, but I've found in talking to people, not everybody knows what cardiac arrest was. I didn't know what a cardiac arrest was. I thought it was a heart attack. Cardiac arrest is when your brain, so heart attack, your heart attacks, your blood clot, stroke. Cardiac arrest is for whatever unknown reason, and they don't still understand exactly why people get cardiac arrests in the first place, specifically on every single one that's ever had one. But your brain just shuts off. You're done. It's like flipping the switch. Lights out. We're done. Show's over. That's a cardiac arrest. You die. The brain controls everything, just like your computer. You turn the power off, you're not playing any more games. You're not typing, you're not doing anything, and the power's off. The power is off in a cardiac arrest. There's no heart function, there's no breathing, there's no brain activity. You are in all practical purposes of the word, dead. So now there's levels from what happens when you have a cardiac arrest. From my understanding, if I remember correctly, 90% of everybody that has a cardiac arrest does not recover. So you have a 10% chance of recovery in the first place, of coming back to life from a cardiac arrest, depending on how quickly they can get CPR performed on you to get the blood pumping, to get things going. As long as you can get the blood moving, if you can get the brain to reactivate, then there can be success from that. So depending on how quickly CPR can get performed on the people to get the blood flowing in the body, to kickstart the brain and to shock the people back to life, is going to determine the outcome of what happens from there. So they have the golden window, which is between 0 and 10 minutes. If they're able to resuscitate you, if they're able to bring you back to life during that first 10 minutes, now, mind you, 90% of cardiac arrest patients die. So you have a 10% chance of being brought back to life in the first place. If they can bring you back within the first 10 minutes, the odds of there being major complications or brain damage are minimal. So you could have a cardiac arrest, be part of the lucky 10% and survive, and you could probably be all right. The next window of opportunity is between 10 and 20 minutes. So if they don't get you in that first 10, they're still going to try to resuscitate you. They're still trying to save your life to bring you back from dead. Because you're dead. They're still trying to bring you back. But between 10 and 20 minutes, there will be brain damage. You've now deprived your brain of oxygen for over 10 minutes, and you will be brain damaged. My wife was in that 10 to 20 minute mark. And so you have a 10% chance of the 10% chance of recovering in the 10 to 20%, 10 to 20 minute window. So now you're down to a tenth of a tenth is a 1%. So after 10 minutes, there's a 1% chance, 1 out of 100 of people come back to life after experiencing a cardiac arrest from between 10 and 20 minutes. So I'm eternally thankful and grateful that my wife returned to us. She's back with the living. And it's her. Some thoughts you may have in regards to things, where's the soul? Where are we? Who are we? When you're gone out of your body, are you still there? When they bring you back, is it you? It's her. Okay. So to answer any of those questions, she came back, however you want to believe it. But she's experienced some brain damage. So that's changed my life completely. Now, the third stage of cardiac arrest, thankfully we didn't get there, is after 20 minutes, it is general practice to not continue resuscitation of the life form or the body, because brain damage would be so severe that they would, for the most part, just be a vegetable. And that's arguable. Nothing's written in stone in regards to our bodies, and nobody knows everything. But for general rule of thumb, after 20 minutes, they're not going to continue CPR. They're not going to continue resuscitation. They're not going to try to bring you back to life anymore after 20 minutes, because the odds of there being extensive brain damage is so great. It's just not worth the risk. You're not going to have a quality of life, I hate to tell you. And they're just going to let you go. So we have, when that happens to you, they automatically enroll, when you come back, they automatically enroll you into a hospice. Hospice is a care program where they're providing you a quality of life until your life ends. Because continued life from a cardiac arrest is, the odds are very slim. So they put you in the hospice to prepare you and the family for the end of life. Yeah, you died. We brought you back to life. But more than likely in 6 months to a year, you're not going to be with us anymore. So we're going to make you comfortable. We're going to give you medication. We're going to bend over backwards for you and make your life as pleasant as possible. Give you as many nurses as you need, whatever medical equipment is required, anything to make you comfortable, nothing to improve your life. We're not going to try to save your life or make you better because you're enrolled in hospice, which is the end of life program. So we get lots of nurses and doctors for that. So she was in hospice care at first. As she started to improve, we had the option of moving out of hospice. Okay. Because this is what happens. If you're in hospice, you don't get things like physical therapy. Physical therapy is to make you better. Hospice is to make you comfortable, to end your life. Physical therapy says, I want to get better from here. So we moved out of hospice into, or palliative care, into palliative care, which includes the improvement of life, physical therapy, for instance. So we still get a lot of nurses, still get a lot of care. We get doctors that actually come out to the house, which you don't get. You stub your toe, there ain't no doctor or nurse coming to the house. So we get that, and thank goodness for Medicare. Government insurance is crap. It really is. So don't think for 1 second that you really want the government providing you with health care. But we do have that. We don't qualify for Medicaid, which is for people who can't afford to pay for, their poverty level. And Medicaid or Medi-Cal or whatever it is in your state, gives you even more care than Medicare does. But we qualify under Medicare, and so she gets a lot of doctors and nurses to come out there. But what we don't get is um, daily care. We don't get a nurse to come out to bathe her. We don't get a nurse to come out and to dress her. We don't get a nurse to come out to change her daily needs. We have to pay for someone to do that. So the person that comes out to help, who was just here a few moments ago, we pay her out of our own pocket. And what makes that so difficult is, here's poverty level, which opens up the golden doors of all sorts of medical benefits and stuff that is available to anybody if they can't pay for their healthcare needs. Okay. And they do like, I don't know, 10% or 13% or 15% over poverty level qualifies you for this golden parachute of care. And here's where we are. Okay. And here's where the rich people are. So we're not like, there's not six figures coming into the house here, guys. Believe it or not, I'm not a six-figure income person. Okay. So what money that we make over and above poverty goes right out the door to healthcare. So we truthfully are living, and you wouldn't believe it because I spend my money on shit like this, but we're living in what would be poverty level, which would open up all of that, but we don't have it. So all of our money goes to the shit that I buy, but also to the care of my wife. So that's how that works. We get great care. The nursing staff and all that is good. Every now and again, you'll find somebody that really has no business being a nurse, and they normally get weeded out in that regards. But this person that comes over and helps is an absolute godsend, and we pay her. So she's not doing it for free, and I work for free because the government doesn't give me any money to take care of her. So, but that's where that is. So we're glad to have her. And should my wife's condition go in the other direction, where she no longer can be provided physical therapy or improvement of life, then we would enroll her into hospice again, which would just be for the providing care in her final days. And that's a reality of life. I couldn't tell you how much time I'm going to have with my wife before she moves on. We never know. You could be 22 years old and lose your wife just like that. So that's life. As you get older, of course, obviously the end of life is closer if you live a natural lifetime. We've already had a practice run, more or less. I've already grieved fully and completely when I lost my wife when she died. I mean, I lost my shit. I did. I don't remember much at that moment of what was going on because I was just no longer really there. I don't know how they even got her out of the car. She was telling me something was wrong. She was having problem breathing. I'm driving her to the hospital. We get into the emergency room parking lot, and she dies in the car in the parking lot. And they had to remove her from a four-door car. And four-door cars aren't as big as a two-door car in regards to the door. And I have no idea how they got her out of the car. They didn't jaws of life and rip the car apart or take her out of the roof or whatever. They took her out of the car, and she's not easy getting in and out of a car in the first place. I mean, I'm a big man. You imagine trying to get me out of a car. So I don't even know how they even got her out of the car, to tell you the truth, or nothing. So, but that's how it happened. That's how it went down, and that's the story with that. August, I think it was August 19th. August 19th, I think, was the day that she died. So now we claim she has two birthdays. So it was over a year. It was August 19th last year. So when August 19th this year, whatever day it was, either the 19th or the 23rd, I don't remember which. When that day came, I celebrated a birthday with her. And she's like, "What the hell is this?" And I said, "It's your birthday." She goes, "No, my birthday is not now." And I said, "Yeah, it is. Because you were born again. You came back. You died and rose from the grave. You are alive again. You were birthed. So you have two birthdays." And she got gifts and cake, and then she was happy about it. She's like, "Okay, this is cool. Two birthdays is great. Anytime you can celebrate me, amen." So she was very pleased about that. But So that's the whole story in life in regards to that. And so I am blessed with the spending ability of being able to buy shit like this. But I'm not rich under any circumstance at all. I don't make more than six figures a year. And I'm not talking about after paying taxes and blowing off my money or whatever else. I'm talking about money coming into my pocket. There's no six figures in this house. Nothing. All the money in the world that comes here doesn't put us over $100,000 a year. So don't think for 1 second that I'm rich or well off. I'm just a normal person. I happen to have a little bit extra money and I spend it on shit like this, which I love. Love my shit. Don't touch my shit. Don't talk about somebody else wanting my shit. And don't tell me I got a lot of nice shit. It's my shit and I want to keep my shit. Keep your hands off my shit. Let's turn this on. See what happens. All right.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles. In the mysterious caverns below the castle, your odyssey continues against the awesome forces that oppose your efforts to reach the Dragon's Lair. Lead on, adventurer. Your quest awaits.
There you go. And that's the game. So it's pretty cool. Insert 2 coins for 5 dirks. Insert coins, select 1 or 2 players. Use the joystick. I mean, that's pretty cool. And as we discussed earlier, plug it into your television screen with the HDMI, plug in your external control pads right there to play the game and not have to worry about using the little nozzle here. So that's cool. That's really cool. I'm glad to have it. Glad to have it. Wondering getting around Mark 7 outside nurse, yeah, I'm aware of them. I would have to keep bugging the doctors for authorization for outside nurses. That's always a pain in the ass when it expires. And yeah, we really have to, because we kind of get it, but we're always on that cusp of losing what's given to us. That's the absolute truth. It's government insurance, man. On Mark 7 was thinking about buying another Mark 7, but not sure. I was also thinking about maybe just buy the specific part to just make the flight pod. I've not seen anybody sell just the flight pod parts. It's really the body. You need the body. They would have had to have included an additional body from the knees to the shoulders is what you need to make the flight pod. Just the whole body. You don't need the shins. You don't need the arms, the head. But you need from the shoulders to the knees. And they should have included that. It would have been easy to do, and they didn't do it. Millipede green stuff. To fill that in, it's a good idea. I thought I could use plastic Mark 7 for flight pod parts, which is what I did. You could possibly use that. I paid $10 for that one. This guy would cost you, a couple $100 if you wanted to buy a plastic Mark 7. So yeah, that'd be the same thing. Do the same thing that I did, And I decided not to use a $200 plastic Mark 7. You could if you wanted to. I just bought a little $10 one from a drugstore. How much did they charge you for only the flight pod? Well, considering the body, at least $100, $200. Yeah, Luke Perry was a shocker guy, super young. 2020, did Luke Perry died? Oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah, 2020 really sucked TV movie star-wise. I've seen a commercial for a 2020 sucked movie. Sean Connery, yeah. Chad, yeah. Alex Trebek, yes. Freaking Marianne from Gilligan's Island died. Don Wells, yep, sure did. Remember, Alex Trebek was a Man in Black. If you ever watched Men in Black with Fox Mulder, well, I forget what his name was, David Duchovny, and Gillian Anderson, I think was her name. There was an episode where Alex Trebek was a Men in Black. Really good episode, one of my favorites. Yeah, getting old sucks. Thank you, Siri, for sharing so much with us. I really appreciate your story of you and your wife. Thank you very much for letting me rant and rave and go on and on and on about shit that has nothing to do with our collection. You can really see and hear the love. Thank you very much, Jake, for your wife. God bless. Thank you very much, Jake. Thank you. See, that's why nice. I'll wait to see the Terminator 2 arcade. Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. So, yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. Got to get her ready to, she's got a doctor's appointment in the morning. The van will be coming by at 10 a.m. to pick her up, to take her to a doctor's appointment. Dialysis 3 times a week. And because of the holidays, her dialysis, which is normally on Friday, was moved to Saturday. So I got to get her ready for that. And so they're coming around 10 o'clock, and we need to get her into her chair. We use a Hoyer lift to lift her out of the bed. She has a bed in the living room where she lives now. So we really don't even have a relationship anymore as husband and wife. So that's the shitty thing of life. So she lives in the living room on a bed that we had to buy because we didn't qualify for a hospital bed, believe it or not. So we had to spend another, I don't know, $5,000 on an adjustable bed or some shit. I don't even have any idea. But yeah, the money just goes right out the door. It really does. So anyhow, I'm going to cut this short, guys. Thank you very much. I love you. Next week, I'm going to do the Spider Noir. I haven't put any of them up, but we're going to get this Spider Noir from the PlayStation 4 video game. If I'm understanding, that's where he's from, not the Spider Noir that Nicolas Cage portrayed in the movie. And I'd love to see that too. But this is made by So Toys. That's what we're going to do next week. And then we're going to do the old Captain America from the end of Endgame, which we got also. That's what we're going to do the week after that. And then I've got several figures coming. I think Wasp is coming. I've got Negasonic Teenage Warhead is coming. I've got, I think my Mark 21 diecast is coming. Really excited about that one. So yeah, we got a lot of figures coming. We're going to be busy. Definitely a lot of stuff coming up. If you'd like to subscribe to me, by all means, please do. Share the video. Give it a thumbs up. That helps in regards to the metrics of things. YouTube don't pay me shit. 2 cents per 1,000 clicks. So don't think I'm making any money on this. I am. I get a little bit of cha-ding, a little $10, $20 over every few months or whatever. But it's nothing like some of these guys like PewDiePie make millions of dollars off of this shit. So, it's all about the passion and the love and spending time with you guys. You're my social interaction. And if you really want to help out, if you feel inclined and you're financially able, I would never want you to put yourself out. I have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/Siri Emerald, SIRIEMERALD, and you can give me $1 a month or however much you want. And I'm eternally grateful for that. And like I said, you don't have to give me anything. I have enough money to buy my shit. I have enough money to take care of my wife. Not really, but I do. But if you want to help out, God bless you. I would appreciate that too. Take care. Social Toys, great company. Their Social Toys doing a good job. Be well, same with chat. If you still have her though, pal, that's the best bet. It is. So we had a dry run. We had a practice run of her passing on. So the shock of it has already hit me, and now it's just a matter of it'll happen again. We all know we're going to die. We all do. There's not a single one of us that thinks we're going to live forever. So we've had our practice run. God bless you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you. Thank every one of you. And I will be here next week. And PewDiePie and a billionaire. Yeah, well, he probably is. So I love you guys. Thank you very much. And peace out. And I will see you next week. Bye.